We're in Liverpool for Beer X 2026, and we're at Azvex at the moment. We're going to go chat to some of the guys inside there. Azvex is one of my personal favorite breweries, making fantastic beers, some crazy beers. You need to check them out. But let's go chat to Jack, who's the head brewer, and see what Azvex is all about. Hey guys, so welcome to Azvex. I'm sitting here with Jack, the head brewer of Azvex. He's been here for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So you should know a little bit about Azvex.
I hope so.
Yeah. So Jack, thank you very much for bringing us in here. Well, I know we've kind of just stolen your space for a few hours.
That's fine, it's fine, no problem.
But tell us a little bit about Azvex and how it started and...
Sure, yeah. I think the modus operandi for Azvex is essentially, I think we're always striving for quality and for pushing boundaries. That's probably what we're well known for, is making some rather out there products and beers, but certainly quality is the first and foremost. I just think we never wanted to compromise on quality and striving for improvements in quality. And also experimentation. We're both scientists. Adam's a nuclear engineer. I was a biomedical scientist. So we've got a very analytical sort of mind frame. So the whole brew house and kit and the setup is sort of based around being able to tweak and adjust different factors in the brewing process and try and get this little, I always say 1% gains that make a 10% improvement, if that makes sense. And certainly over the years, if you looked at a recipe from day one and the recipe from now for a hazy IPA or for a stout or whatever, they're so night and day in the processes and in procurement of the ingredients and all sorts of different factors. And I really think that's what Azvex was founded on, was doing that, not sort of, I'm going to say other people compromise, but for us it was about constantly striving forward and making the best quality products that we could. And to be honest, Liverpool, as you can probably tell, I'm not a native Scouser, but I've been here for a few years. Yeah, exactly. And neither's Adam, he's got an Abroadian accent. But Liverpool's a great city. It's a very dynamic and up-and-coming city. It's always been here as like a party city, but it's now such a cosmopolitan place as well that this seemed like a really good place for a brewery to be started and opened up in. And the scene's only getting better. You know, post-COVID, we lost so many breweries, and it's the same across the country, but now I think we've got some really good local breweries. We have events like Beer X, which is partially why you're in town, that are putting Liverpool on the map as a good beer destination as well. So, you know, rather than go to somewhere like Manchester, which is phenomenal, or Leeds, Liverpool's still up and coming. So I think we settle in really nicely into that little, you know, area.
But even though it's up and coming, you guys have got some absolutely amazing breweries out here. That sort of space now, you've got, I want to say, competition just around the corner. Is that a difficult kind of space to compete in?
Oh, absolutely not. No, Mike at Colby, I assume you're talking about. He used to work for me back in the day in a different brewery. He's a phenomenal man. He's lovely. And to be honest, we do very, very different products. They're kind of like modern trad, if that makes sense. They're doing a load of different styles, doing it really interestingly and really well. And we're definitely sort of big hoppy IPAs, big imperial stouts, smoothie sours, etc., etc. But honestly, more breweries the better, in the sense of bringing some more local pride and expanding the scene. And I really, really do mean that. We are a very tight-knit bunch in Liverpool. I used to work with guys at Black Lodge. I used to work with guys at Colbeer and other breweries that were around in town back in the day as well. So, no, they're all good friends, and, you know, can I have a cup of sugar sort of conversations happen quite regularly, like, oh man, I need some yeast, can I borrow a 500 gram pack or something? You know, it's absolutely not. No, we're all operating in a great space, some really good bars, more opening up as well. So yeah, the more the merrier, absolutely. Absolutely.
I find that with the craft industry, it is this sense of camaraderie, this, you know, there's no real enemy, and everybody, like you said, hey, I need some yeast, or I need some advice here, or hey, have you done this before? What am I doing? And there is that kind of really sense of friendship and kingship. And you know, all you guys are all after the kind of the same goal, is to make freaking awesome beer. That's at the end of the day.
And we can't forget that, I'll just throw a number out there, but well into the 90% of people are still drinking macro-made lager or Guinness, as it seems now, is so popular. You know, there's so much room for us to expand into in a market that, you know, you think we'd squabble over the sort of small percentage of craft market, but no, it's more about educating and expanding and finding ways, routes to market, to use a technical phrase, that will help other people. You know, we're so lucky that we've got the Everton Stadium just opened up about a mile up the road. So that's brought a whole new wave of people to us in our tap room. Because we initially were like, oh, well, what are we going to do? We have to produce a significant more lager, just kind of, you know, stereotyping. And actually, even in these sort of maybe 6 months or so that we've been having that trade, our pale ale sales have just started to grow and grow and grow. So like, okay, even with people who we wouldn't traditionally expect to be craft beer drinkers, we're finding they're shifting more towards drinking, hazy pales and stuff. And like, great, that's what I hear about. You just need some exposure and in an environment where people are enjoying themselves and can kind of see where it's made, be in a tap room, talk to the bar staff who are great purveyors of knowledge of our beers, and that's what it's about, right? I think it's great that we get more people, more breweries opening in the city, more bars. I'm all for it. Yeah.
And you touched earlier on about your earlier history about being a biochemist. And does that ever play a part in brewing beer? I mean, do they kind of collide, or you playing around a bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think brewing's almost an artisanal. Brewing's an artisanal form of science in a strange way. It's a very technical process where slight changes in pHs and temperatures and additions at certain times for length and periods and blah 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 can really make a significant impact over time. So I really think it helps having an analytical mind. But also on the flip side of that, if you're a very artistic person who's all about sort of sensory notes, that's really important too. Well, to blend the two parts is really good.
It is a scientific art. You want to, get the flavors, because I mean, you could science the hell out of it, but you might not be making beer that people want to drink.
Absolutely, there's that too. It's also knowing your market and being a really good business person. It's a multifaceted and quite dynamic business is brewing, which is why I think it appeals so much. Is like every day's different. And I still enjoy it. I've been brewing for sort of plus of 12 years now, and it's still year on year. It's just such an interesting industry to be in, and constantly changing. As with trends, and we were sort of had a brief chat earlier about changing trends and people maybe moving away from hazes back to things like West Coast and lager. Even that, just it's interesting to follow that and see where that goes and what we can brew, and expanding what we a portfolio what we get to brew as well. So I think it absolutely helps. It certainly helps having an electrical engineer who works on nuclear submarines as their boss, because whenever anything breaks in the brewery, it's very easy to go, Adam, he comes out with his electrical equipment. So
does he have to work under the water with any of the equipment, being a nuclear sub?
I don't know, to be honest. I know he worked for Rolls-Royce back in the day, so I couldn't divulge anymore. He's a man of international mystery, I'm sure.
Now, Adam started the business, what you said, about how many years ago, plus minus?
The Azvex opened about 4.5 years ago, so November, 4 and a bit years ago. Prior to that, he was owner and founder and head brewer at Neon Raptor. And before then was as I said, was an engineer at Rolls-Royce.
And the goal, was it to make crazy beers? Or was it just I want to start a brewery, I know what I'm doing, I love making beer? Was there a goal in the beginning stages to make the stuff like your mango range and your the crazy stuff that you do?
Yeah, I think there was always in the first initial releases of beer, there was even a big hazelnut imperial stout and those sort of beers, and a couple of big hoppy IPAs. I think that very much of being at the sort of peak of craft, making those big styles of beers that really excite people was fundamental to what Azvex do. I think that was always a part of it. The things like Manor and Scoop and those sort of smoothie sours series of beers took so much product development to get them to a point in time that it took us a few years to get there. But even right at the beginning, again, I think one of the first releases was Jelly Jar, which is a heavily fruited sour, but not a sort of smoothie style. So they've always been kind of around. And as I say, we do behind the scenes, the amount of new product development on some of these things that come out is significant. It's months and months of tweaking and trying and experimenting before we get to where we want to go. And then Adam's got the kind of crazy man that's doing and wants to create some of those things, and I have almost got to kind of action it, and that's where my fun comes on board. He goes, here's a problem, make this square peg fit in this round hole, and I really enjoy that part. So
I've had some of the Manor stuff, and I've literally had to squash the can to get that stuff out of there. It is, and I really do enjoy it. That must be killer on your machines, though. I mean, to try and get that through pipes and your canning machines. And so it's a lot of trial and error and months of work. Yeah,
and even at the beginning of those sort of ranges of beers, we were still kind of making calculated risks of kind of what we could do with the kit and push it, and how we could get things into cans and into kegs and dispense. And we've got a lot better at that over time. Still, I know it can be a bit of a sore point, sorry, for some people, saying you have to shake the hell out of the can before it pours. That's the sort of weird space we're operating in with those beers. But again, I think not to humble brag or very brag, but we've got the second best rated beer on taps in Europe this year with one of our smoothie sours.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other ones, I think we got the top 3 beers on taps for smoothie sours in UK and up there with one of them in Europe as well. So
well deserved, I must say.
Thank you. I still don't. I'm just in this space making beer.
Just making
beer, and as long as it makes people happy, I'm cool with that. But we're still doing a lot of behind the scenes work on new things there as well. We've had to change some sourcing for some of our ingredients, which will make some changes, and that's even still dynamic as well. And what we can and can't do on the smoothie sour side. But even then, it's probably less than 5% of what we produce, which is what's mad. The vast majority is some of our core range beers. We've got 4 hazy pales, and then almost every week we've got a new IPA coming out, and that's the mainstay. We're maybe only doing 5, 6 sort of smoothie beers a year, maybe only 1, 2 or 3 imperial stouts. So it's funny what kind of hits the headlines and what doesn't. But then also those beers are there to hit the headlines. They are there to be really interesting.
Meant to be talked about.
Meant to be talked about. And that's just, that's the way you operate.
The question I always want to know regarding stuff like a smoothie, at what point does beer not become beer, or beer is not beer? I mean, obviously you're putting in the basic ingredients of beer, but it's so very far from something like this. At what point do you think it's going to get to, like, people are going to say that's not beer and it's something completely different?
That's fine. If people want to think of it as like an alcoholic smoothie product or something like that, that's absolutely fine. But there's obviously a market for that, and people enjoy it. So fine. Just like, as I said earlier, if you're a person who comes in and just wants a nice, easygoing lager, they're probably not going to, or maybe they will enjoy smoothie sour, but they're maybe not trying a hazy IPA or a West Coast. The thing about craft beer is it is a broad church of many different styles, many different products that we can create and do create. So again, if that's not your thing, absolutely fine, not a problem. And if you want to comment and say that is not your thing, absolutely fine, no problem with
Everybody's
that at all.
got a taste.
Everybody's got a taste, exactly. We mentioned earlier, like, being the prototypical hipster brewer who's a bit grey in the beard and short in the hair follicles now, give me a nice health lager. My family's German, like, I just want nice Reinheitsgebot beer. I'm not drinking a lot of the hazy, crazy stuff. I'm not drinking a lot of the imperial stout. So, that's me, but then I do create those products too. Fine. If that's not resembling a beer that you want to drink, that's absolutely fine. No problem, mates. There's still going to be a lot of different things, and hey, we've still got some stuff in our back pocket that hasn't even come out yet. We'll absolutely put the cap on Monster Pigeons.
You're not going to give away any secrets.
I would probably. I think Adam would walk out of the office upon hearing me even breathe it and would come and work with me. So no, but I still think, as I said, we're still doing a lot of new product development on some fun things as well. But fundamentally, these are fun alcoholic products that people are spending a premium on. They're expensive to make, extremely difficult to make, extremely difficult to pasteurize and process and all the rest of it. It's expensive too. So that's fine. If people want to spend that money on a quasi-alcoholic smoothie and they enjoy it, then let them enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, you guys are pretty much making this on a normal brewing kit that any brewery would have. You've got your mash, and you said it was a 4-vessel.
4-vessel, yeah.
4 vessels. You've got fermentation tanks right behind us over here, and it's the kind of manufacturing parts, the elements that are in there is everyday stuff, but it's your knowledge and your playing around and your experimenting that's really making completely, and it really is yours.
It makes it a uniquely us thing. I know we're not the only ones doing this. Some other fantastic producers internationally and nationally as well. Obviously, guys like Vault City have made an entire massive brewery based on this style of beer. So, I think the only slight pushback I potentially make about the people who are critical is it isn't just chucking fruit in a tank. It really, really isn't. I cannot tell you how much it isn't just that. Also, even if it just is that, it is unbelievably difficult. It's an entire day of getting fruit into a tank and other products, ice cream and stuff. So they aren't easy. It's not just like, it's not kind of quote unquote lazy brewing. They still take a lot of thought, just as much as any other product. More so, to be honest. I honestly, it's a toss-up between big imperial stouts that we've got one in the brew house right now.
Okay.
That it's going to 48 hours in the brew house alone for an imperial stout. I'd still rather make that than make a smoothie sour. If you sat me down and went, what do you want to make for the rest of your days, this or this? Honestly, imperial stouts all day, every day, in terms of how difficult they are to produce. You know, pasteurizing the smoothies products in itself is an entire day, and it's extremely difficult. We don't have a tunnel pasteurizer. We have to do it a different way, and it just takes a long time. So, you know, I'm all for the people being critical of what they don't want and what they do want. It doesn't fuss us. We'll keep making them because we still have people who want it.
It's skill and a labor of love. And for you guys to keep on doing it, even though you say the difficulties, you gotta love making it though.
There's nothing like sitting down on the Thursday of release day and sitting down on the bar and just watching people walk away with a crazy thing and the smiles on people's faces. It makes it worth it. It does.
Well,
it does. It wouldn't push you otherwise.
It's that end product that really is kind of driving you to kind of like, let's do this.
And likewise, on the flip side of that, when we've got our fantastic hells that we made really well, and it's lagered in one of these lagering vessels for X amount of time, that puts a big smile on my face too. So I really, 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 to reiterate, love what I do. And I've done it for long enough now that I just really enjoy those nitty-gritty details and really finding those little bits that we can consistently improve on. Brewing is not a job you do for the pay packet or for the hours. It's a job you do for the vocation of it, the true love of what you do. It's a completely different job. I would not want to work 9 to 5 in an office building anymore. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not what I'm passionate about. I am unbelievably passionate and over talk on a video about what I do. That's who I am. So
you were saying about people coming through the door, and are you finding that there has been a sort of movement in the newer generations of people not drinking as much, looking at other things other than beer, other than alcohol and stuff there? Are you finding any sort of that sort of push in your sector, or is it just a later generational thing that we got to worry about?
It's definitely a thing that Gen Z plus aren't drinking as much, for sure. Because we make big crazy beers. I think we are finding we're already taking a very small section of people who drink craft beer, and then they're going, hey, do you like it pushed? Do you like it like the dial cranked up to 11 sort of? I think we will begin to find that more and more. We don't yet make non-alcoholic products, so it's not a sector we've ever kind of catered for. And our tap room is coming up to 4 years open now, but we've seen probably getting consistently busier, certainly with the Everton Stadium opening up. Will we look at those things in the future? For sure. We'll probably have a nosy at that in the coming years, but we are not a big scale kind of production craft brewery just yet. So at the moment, we've got a big sector. Even in Liverpool, we don't sell a massive amount of beer, so we still even got to look at our local trade and how we can improve that, probably before we've got to sort of get concerned about reduction in say a future generation. But also, I suppose, if that generation of people, I feel old, are drinking less, are they drinking better? And are they looking for things that if I'm going to drink, I might as well drink good? And I hope that's where it is. I hope it becomes like kind of like how I am with whiskey. I want to drink good quality stuff. I want to enjoy what I'm drinking. I'm not just drinking to get drunk or inebriated or slightly tipsy. I am drinking for the social aspect, for the sitting down and, I don't want to say you analysing and looking at it through a lens or anything, but enjoying it and going, hey, I want to try different hop combinations, I want to try different beers and what's on offer. That's how I drink and eat. I hope that's how other people are going to drink and eat.
I think it's conscious decisions that people want to start making and what you're drinking, what you're putting into your body, and that sort of thing. And when
it's also expensive. It is expensive now to drink and to eat. So if you are going to go and spend £5, £6, £7 a pint,
make sure it's a good one.
Make sure it's a good one. That's what I would do. And if you get that, if other people find that, and then I would hope they'd gravitate towards more. Well, if at least I'm paying £7 a pint or whatever, I'm paying it to a local business that employs people in the local area, that supports a heritage industry that's been in the UK for since who knows when. That's what I would like to see happen. Whether that actually translates, that's still to be seen. You know?
And future of Azvex, are you sort of content where you are, or are you wanting to go global international takeover?
Oh, we do sell a lot of beer internationally anyway. We export a lot, but no, I don't think we'll be doing I don't think we'll be AB InBev or one of those sort of guys with multiple factories across the world. No, we will have to move from this site certainly at some point. This has all been redeveloped with the new stadium. The whole area is getting developed into a new, lots of flats and commercial businesses and stuff. So we will likely have to move at some point. I think we would like to expand a bit more from where we are right now. We actually expanded last year and had a 50% capacity increase. Where we go from there, whether we sort of get another 50% or double, I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to probably find a unit first and see what the size is, and then work backwards from there. But there'll probably be hopefully stepping up a bit from here. But there is definitely a ceiling of where we would like to be in terms of production. Adam will know more about that. But I don't think we're a 25 hectolitre brewery, brewing about 3 times a week at the moment. If we could increase that and sort of brew 5 to 6 times a week, I think would be a comfortable point of production. And see where we go. We are looking at moving down to a 4-day working week, which will be a lot nicer for all the members of staff. And so condensing it down, and then it means brewhouse operations and the taproom operations are very separate. So we can leave the tap room, not having to use their space, and we can go down to a 4-day working week. So we're sort of prioritising that at the moment is how we can streamline what we're doing and producing. And we're a very small team, to be honest. There's 2 of us in production, 1 in warehousing, 1 in sales, the owner, and a social media marketing guy, and then the taproom staff are sort of separate. I'd call them all separate. That's it at the moment. So if we expand, we've also got to look at a lot more staffing and what that requires. Well, at the moment, with the rest of the kit we've got and the way we operate, we can pretty much brew 3 times in a day in less than 12 hours. So we can concertina everything down into brewing on one day 3 times and then packaging other days. I think that's what we're looking at the moment in terms of business growth and development is.
And I think, that's always a hard decision to make when you are, you add capacity, but then you're going, well, if we had 50% more, but do we have 50% more sales? But then you get to that 50% more sales and you're going, well, our brewery's too small, we need to make it bigger. And it's always that kind of little bit of a balancing act along the way.
Absolutely. And where are your sales coming from? Are they coming from, say, core range beers, which you probably aren't making much money on, if anything at all, really? So are you just sort of paying your rates, your rent, and your staffing, and all your sort of fixed costs off by producing that? So say if 60% of what you're selling is a core range products and you're not really making much on it, if you lose 5 or 10% of those sales, that could be kind of a really tight, really tight.
Try and get money in somehow, some other way.
And it's never been harder in terms of, we're looking at with what's happening in the Gulf at the moment, energy costs spiking potentially again, national insurance is going up, and et cetera.
Costs, there's a war happening.
Exactly. There's a lot of uncertainty being a small business. So expanding at the moment is very difficult. But that's not to say it's not achievable. And if we're going to expand, how are we expanding? Are we going to? Is it just going to be kind of like unilateral? Everything increases in sales, so the bigger, hoppier IPAs, which we maybe have a better margin on and better flexibility on. Is that going to increase as well, or is that still quite a finite market? If there's only X amount of places, X amount of people buying and drinking IPAs, double IPAs, etc., etc. So those are definitely very deep business questions that you'll get a different answer from everyone doing it. But we've expanded 50% last year, and I think sales practically increased alongside that last year as well. So we're at a good point.
Good space.
We still have a lot of consolidation to do inside of that as well. I think winter period moving into January, February, it's always difficult, and now the weather is getting better, the days are getting longer, we'll see sales begin to pick up and move on again, and then we'll see how this summer goes for us. It'll also be the first year we've got the football on, which does bring a lot of money directly into our doorway. Still a very small part of our business, but it's directly into our coffers rather than through going out and through a wholesaler or whatever. So we'll see. This is a big year for us for sure. But every year I've said that. Every year is a big year.
There's one question I was wanting to ask you. Azvex, the name. What does it mean?
Totally made up. It's
completely
completely made up, just to try and avoid any sort of cross contamination with hop dogged this, and you know what I mean. It's sort of like you put any of those
nobody's got
words
their
in.
trademark anywhere else in the world except for
Exactly.
one place.
Just try and find something really unique. If you put it into a Google search engine, if you're looking at search engine optimization and all those things, you're going to find Azvex Brewery.
So was it just a kind of like, let's pull some letters out of a hat? That works.
I believe so. When Adam was formulating this brewery in his mind,
awesome.
I think it was just kind of like finding things, lots of V's, X's, and all that in there. So they are very unused letters, and it kind of helps, helps.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Great to see these beers, where they're going, what they're doing. It's just, like I said, guys, if you are wanting to try one of the unique beers from Azvex, grab them. You online sales, that's great.
Yeah, online sales. Yeah, we've got an online store where you can buy our products. I would say the crazy stuff goes like that. So social media is your easiest bet to find out. We've even got things like broadcast channels, WhatsApp, and other bits and bobs. So if you really do want to try some of the crazy things that go quickly, follow us on social media, add yourself to the WhatsApp group, all of that sort of stuff, and you'll get kind of pre-sale codes and stuff for some things as well. Best way to find out what we're doing and when we're doing it. And come visit us in Liverpool. Our tap room's open Thursday to Sundays. We sometimes have stuff in the tap room that you will not find online because we tend to hold some stuff back. Certainly on tap you'll find sours. We've always got sour on, practically always got an Imperial Stout, always got our fantastic quality lagers that I absolutely adore. So yeah, all the usual channels, but online sales is a great way to find us.
So guys, these beers, when you get them, they can be a spectacle. It is something to really try. The Manor range is crazy. I've had a few of them and enjoyed every single one of them. But yeah, give them a go. Check them out online. Follow the guys on social media. And as always, guys, happy brewing.